Hello, book lovers. I have a book today that asks a big question. Is revenge worth the cost? We're diving into Mayhem by Estelle Laure, a young adult feminist mashup described as being inspired by The Lost Boys and The Craft. This book gave me a lot to think about, so stick around because I've got a lot of divided feelings on this one. First off, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I do want to mention that I received this in exchange for an honest review, and that's exactly what you're going to get. The plot and concept. Seductive and splitting mayhem drops us into 1987 with our protagonist, Mayhem Brayburn, and her mother, Roxy. Mayhem has always sensed something off about their lives. Her mother's chronic pain, Mayhem's own strange, irresistible pull toward water. When her stepfather goes too far, they flee to Santa Maria, California, a coastal town where Roxy's estranged family lives, and where Mayhem finally finds the answers to her own powerful connection to the water. This family has a female lineage tied to magic and the water, and Mayhem is next in line to inherit it. But when she gets involved in the search for a man kidnapping girls from the beach, she's forced to confront the dangerous price of vigilante justice. I have to say, I absolutely love the core concept of this book. The idea that this family is tied to the water, that the water is the source of their power, strength, and protection for the town. That part is compelling. And the danger that the water's power is seductive, addictive, and can drive others to insanity? Fantastic. I also like the 3 foster kids Mayhem's aunt has, who seem to be coping with or overcoming the water's effects. However, I'm on the fence because there are aspects I just shook my head at. Characters? A mixed bag. When it comes to the characters, I'm split. Mayhem is all right. She's essentially raised herself because her mother, Roxy, is selfish and, frankly, useless. Though I do think Roxy's drug and alcohol abuse is meant to be tied to her running from the water's pull. Mayhem's aunt is interesting. She's not really the hippie she seems, taking her role as protector very seriously. But the foster kids, Jason and Kid, are great. I especially love Jason, who is so protective of his sister and tells it like it is to Mayhem about the water's addictive nature. Then there's Neve. I thought she was off her rocker. I truly believe the water has changed her, and not in a good way. The whole atmosphere gets odd when Mayhem arrives at her aunt's house. My issues. Too much going on. My biggest hurdle with Mayhem is the structure and pacing. The story is told from multiple views, and this really clogs the story down. It makes the whole thing feel disjointed at times, and I found that not all of the storylines meshed with the main plot. My meh list is pretty clear. 1, too many disjointed storylines. For example, Roxy and her attitude and lifestyle. It just felt like filler that didn't connect to the main plot of the kidnapped girls. The storyline about Roxy and the stepdad was another one that seemed to lead nowhere. 2, Neve's side story was iffy. While it showed the dangers of the water, it felt more showcased than the main plot of the missing girls. It wasn't written like a precautionary tale. It became a distraction. 3, a lack of emotional connection. There are times you just can't feel the character's emotions. Mayhem states Neve is her best friend, but throughout the book, you just don't get that sense. To me, it was Jason and Mayhem who were closer. The characters changed drastically too, especially Neve, and that change felt wacky and unearned. 4, the comparison to The Craft. I really don't see it. Yes, it shows what power can do when in the wrong hands, but that's about it. The Craft was much darker and more twisted, and the seductive nature of the powers was what drove a character nuts. Here, the power is focused around this family and the water. I haven't seen The Lost Boys, so I can't speak to that inspiration. Final thoughts and rating. Overall, I did enjoy the story. I liked watching Mayhem learn about her family's legacy, figure out what she could do, and learn how to use those powers responsibly. I enjoyed the mystery of who was kidnapping the girls, and I really enjoyed Jason and Kid. But ultimately, I felt the town's over-the-top reaction to the family wasn't quite believable, and the fragmented storytelling kept me at a distance. So, I'm landing with 3 out of 5 stars for Mayhem. I would try this author, Estelle Laure, again, but not if it was a continuation of this particular story, unless she changed the way she approaches the writing for these characters. Have any of you read Mayhem? What did you think of the way the power of the water was handled? Let me know in the comments below.